I began my doctoral journey in 2019 with a keen interest in teacher identity. In particular, I wanted to know what motivates English for academic purposes teachers to continue to develop professionally. Since then, I've explored a range of theories through which I could examine this topic, including possible language teacher selves, Magda Kabanyeva's adaptation of possible selves theory. In this construct, language teachers' possible selves, or the teachers they want to be, should be, and fear becoming in the future are seen as powerful motivators of present actions. As 2019 became 2020, the focus of the project changed, and this has given me time to reflect on the researcher that I want to be, feel I ought to be, and often fear becoming or not becoming. My name is Sharon Leslie, and today I'm reflecting on my doctoral project today and the realizations that I've had as a novice researcher. The background and context to my Doctor of Education project through QUT in Brisbane are related very much to the context in which I work. I'm the Director of English Language Programs at a regional university in Australia, Southern Cross University. In that capacity, I lead a team of teachers who teach into general English, study tours, and our direct English for Academic Purposes unit, or EAP. And it's the cohort teaching into EAP whose teacher identity I'm exploring. Surprisingly little is known about this cohort of teachers. There's a paucity of research into how teachers working in international students' direct entry programs conceptualise their own roles, or what motivates them to continue to develop professionally. I had intended that this project would be a mixed methods study, comprising what I hope would be a widely circulated survey, followed by a small series of interviews. Then, in March 2020, as you all know, the world changed, and international education was amongst the first and hardest hit sectors. Plans for a widely distributed survey seemed to be like an insurmountable challenge. Many lecturers and teachers, especially amongst the highly casualised workforce that staff many of the direct entry programs in EAP at Australian universities, have lost their jobs over the past 7 months. However, and this speaks to the resilience and the flexibility of EAP teachers, we have continued to operate, but also to thrive as we've transitioned rapidly to online teaching. Teachers have migrated resources online, honed their technical skills, and used social media and other apps to continue to develop and deliver quality programs online. What a pivot. Now that the flurry of activity that has characterised this year to date is starting to abate somewhat, teaching online continues, and one thing is certain: life will never return to how it was. But also, I've had to change the way that I conceive of my project. It is now no longer a mixed method study, but as you can see, a phenomenological study. And this has changed many aspects. Now it's a completely qualitative research project, and I've really had to reconceptualise the way in which I'm going to do things. If I had thought that 2020 had been challenging enough, I don't think I counted on the conceptual challenges that I would face with phenomenology. Now, however, I'm seeing my phenomenon as teacher identity, my chief underlying question as what is it like to be an EAP teacher? And my research question, how do EAP teachers see their professional role as educators? As I said, grappling with the concepts, the terms, the ideas behind phenomenology has been challenging, but also incredibly exciting. When I started looking at phenomenology, I had so many questions. So is it a philosophy, a methodology, a tradition? And now I know, well, it's all of these. But as with everything in academia, there's no consensus on these names, these terms. Broadly, I see two main approaches: transcendental and interpretive, or hermeneutic, and some would argue there's a third, in existential. And I'm still wading my way through these concepts. I've chosen hermeneutic or interpretive phenomenology for my project as I think it offers me the best way to explore the ways in which EAP teachers in Australian university direct entry programs see their professional identities. As a philosophy, it is conceptually challenging, and a fact that's not helped by its founder, Martin Heidegger's love of neologisms. For example, the concept of Dasein, which refers to the experience of being that is peculiar to humans in the world. And unlike Husserl, the founder of transcendental philosophy, Heidegger's focus is more ontological. He's concerned with the nature of being in the world rather than just of knowing it. The role of the researcher, in this case me, in hermeneutical phenomenology, is regarded as valuable in guiding the inquiry and useful in conducting the research and analysing data. And this is in contrast to the transcendental approach, which uses bracketing that requires researchers to put aside their personal research suppositions, knowledge and theories to separate them from what they observe in the research process. And in addition, and another reason why I've chosen the hermeneutical approach is that it permits the use of a theoretical or conceptual framework. So while phenomenology is the major theory for this project, possible selves theory is still being used as a secondary theory. So all of this background, influenced by history and context, interacts with the researcher and the participant throughout the research. The researcher in the hermeneutic tradition is not chasing a single objective truth, but situated meaning that is consistent with the aims of the research and reflective of the realities of the lived experiences of the participants in the study. And I am going to be interviewing the participants in my study in a series of interviews last year in a less structured research design than many of the other qualitative approaches to research have. So what can I say? Phenomenology is not for the faint-hearted, but then nothing in 2020 has been. The reading has been immense, but as a novice researcher, I would encourage others who are trying to balance the demands of work, study and family to keep going. As the COVID phenomenon itself continues, so does the research work and the teaching work of those of us involved in international education and now in phenomenological research. I think it's important to remember that researchers and teachers in international education for decades have been the first face that students have seen when they've been welcomed to our shores. And in 2020, as I embark upon this series of interviews with EAP teachers, as I'm searching for the essence of the meaning of their experiences, which I believe will be embedded in their narratives, I am both excited and heartened by what the future promises. Thank you.